Okay, so this video is about how to improve your aim really fast. This is how it is structured. We're going to talk about KBM settings, controller settings, a software that can help you on how to find your settings, which is the most important thing for you to improve your aim fast. This software just exists on Xbox and computers, PC. So if you're not on computer or PC, we're also gonna go for a map in Fortnite that everybody that doesn't have a computer or an Xbox can also use to train. And why should not just use a Fortnite map alone? Why should not just like use like red versus blue alone, and we're gonna get to all of that starting now. So yeah, so for me, this is my sensitivity at this moment. You see like it's nothing exactly high. I also leave my targeting and scope at 100% for myself, right? I don't do anything different other than this, right? Some people like to have adjustments in here, right? I don't like it personally. I feel like the way I do have it, it's pretty great. I play with like a 1600 DPI Logitech mouse on a 1920 by 1080 monitor, right? So like for me that works pretty well. Like the whole thing about this video, right? Just like I'm just giving you this right now on the first second of the video because some people like, oh, I want to see your settings, I want to copy your settings, right? And I'm like, that's not the point of the video, and that's not how you achieve good aim, right? For you to achieve good aim fast, you gotta find your settings, the settings that works for you, right? For your type of like hand-eye coordination, which is different than mine. Okay, let's briefly talk about controller settings, right? The most important thing here might be, let me also take my camera off for a brief moment. One of the most important things might be your dead zone, right? So let me get a controller so I can show you. So I'm gonna need to get my let me clean this. It's full of dust. I never use this, bro. Okay, so on a controller, right? Like you're gonna need to understand the difference between dead zone, right? So it's like the percentage of the controller, right, that you're pushing to one side or the other, and how much that goes further. Let's say you are setting the dead zone right on your left here on the left stick, right? So if you set this to 50%, you see how the circle became more bigger. So like that means that half of the zone means that it won't recognize it. That means it will be like, oh, so the input, so what you were doing here, right, is not gonna be recognized, right? Whatever you push there, so if you do like near 100%, like it's not gonna recognize almost nothing of that, right? So you gotta see, again, this is all about you finding what the settings that are best for you, right? So I'm just like explaining what it is here, because people read these things and they kind of get confused, right? So I'm just explaining to you. Now the look sensitivity, right? Just like how looking around, right? When you're just looking around, right? Again, I cannot give you a number for what's best. I think view sensitivity should be high as high as possible, right? For your view. But aiming sensitivity is when you do ADSing, meaning, right, your weapon is like this, and when you press a button, right, the thing is usually like, it can be any button, honestly, but on mouse is like mouse 2, right? I think it's right back in most controllers, or like left back. So when you do that, your character focus, right, they put like, you know, the focus on the aim, right? And that's ADSing, right? So it depends on what you really want. Again, you gotta take those things, just register those things first, right? And then you go from there, right? So aim sensitivity is how fast you ADS, right? Sorry, it's how fast your view rotates while you're ADSing, right? This you might want a little lower. This is not super fast, this is a little lower. Like by your look sensitivity, you probably want that like significantly high. All right, this is the moment that I just ask you to help the channel, give it a like, give it a subscribe if you are not subscribed yet, and leave it a comment. Maybe you suggest things that you would like to see this channel to do in long videos like this way. I'm trying to have like a long video per week, and if you have a comment like, oh, I would like to see you talking about this, give that suggestion there. I have like over 3,000 subscribers now, followers here on YouTube, right? If you help me to get to 10,000, I can start getting paid by YouTube to make videos, so that is super helpful. All right, thank you so much. All right, so this is AIMLABS. You can get this for free on Steam. In this, I'm gonna show you what is overshooting versus undershooting, what is the maps that I use just to help find your settings. And the whole goal of this, right, is just to find your settings. Some streamers will just tell you, oh, just go to red versus blue and you're gonna become a better player. And this is partially true, but if you don't have good settings, you're just gonna develop like worse behaviors in your controller or keyboard, because they're gonna be like, let me just give you an example, right? Say you wanna shoot at someone here, but your settings are so high, right, that you're like trying to shoot at them, and it's like, and you gotta like, it's so hard for you to control your mouse, or in your controller, you're like, moving too slow or too fast, right? So that you gotta find exactly what your settings, which settings work for you. That is the most thing that will help you. That's the thing that will help you the most to improve your aim really fast. And to improve your aim really fast, finding your settings, you need something that's gonna help you. I think AIMLABS is the best tool for it. It's available on PC and Xbox. If you don't have this, I'll have a Fortnite map where you can do a little bit of it, but just watch this a little bit so you can understand what's undershooting versus overshooting. But let's talk about it. So overshooting is like, you're trying to shoot here and you're going over it. Undershooting is like, you're trying to get to this, but your mouse, your pointer is like so slow that you cannot get to it, or you get really close to it, right? So I just use 3 maps in here. I use this one, which is Grid Shot Ultimate. I also use Grid Shot 3x3, and I use Ninja Shot Ultimate, right? Those 3 maps give you kind of a decent understanding in a very basic way on kind of how to find your settings, right? This is what I did to find my settings. There's thousands of maps in AIMLABS that you can use to train your aim in different ways. It's all free, right? They also have tools that help you to do that you can subscribe to. I'm not an AIMLABS partner. I'm just an Epic partner, right? So I'm just using AIMLABS because I really like it, but you don't have to subscribe to it. I'm teaching you right now how to find your settings, right? Just doing here very relaxed grid shot training. I recommend you doing this trainings for per minute each, and then going back to that, adjust your settings. Oh, if I'm undershooting, adjust your settings, go back, do it again. Oh, I'm overshooting, adjust your settings, go back, do it again. Don't swap tasks in between that, because improving on the specific task you're doing is important. Also, let me show you a thing in here. On the top left, right, you have like your score. This is my high score, right? This is my accuracy for this one, right? You can also see that in there. My reaction time for this one was very slow. My average reaction time is 215, which is almost 5 per second, right? This is like more like towards 3 per second. It's much slower, but I'm not relaxed talking, just, chilling here. Replays are super good for you to see how your aim also works. You see like how I have little like squiggly movements as well sometimes. It's something that I have less when I'm training this a lot more, right? My squiggliness of my mouse, right, will decrease a lot when I'm training this more, when I'm adjusting my things, then your speed also increases, your reaction time increases, right, in between targets. In Fortnite, you use this a lot when your targets adjust, or when you're like moving from target to target, right, to shoot, right, which is really important. Once you are there, then you keep shooting, right? That's why this thing helps you a lot. It helps you reaction time for target finding, which is extremely important in shooters, right? Another thing that is super cool here is the insights. This gives you a heat map, right, of like where you are shooting at, right? So you see like how mine is very centered, you know, and I have a little bit of overshooting there maybe, right? Could be undershooting as well, depending on the side that my mouse is coming from, right? I don't think you can see those. You can see just so those by some of those are by subscription, yeah. So, but these are actually cool. It's good to know the amount of targets, right, that you shot, right? This is something that Fortnite cannot give you. Reaction time Fortnite cannot give you, right? Maps in Fortnite have very limited tools that you can use, right? Anyways, that is Grid Shot. You can find it by going here on the bottom left, right? So it's Grid Shot, right? And then you have Grid Shot 3x3 by this user called Ruiz Aqua. I like this one as well. It's pretty simple, right? But it's a little faster. It's just like smaller flicks, right? This helps to get your aim in more of a smaller, I guess, a smaller path, right? So it just helps you to kind of like develop the ability to flick and click a little faster, you know, so you can like do developing, keep developing that, right? If you look at my sights, you see like how it's still like very centered around the circle, right? It's kind of what you want. Had a lot more misses because this I want you to do a lot faster, right? So this one is for speed, and Ninja Shot Ultimate is more is a little more basic for you to just have a little more movement. Your character can move at the screen, right? As well as you would move in Fortnite. And the weapon has a little is lower fire rate, right? But this is gonna give you like more or less the amount of percentage they would have sorta in a Fortnite match, right? A little reduced, right? I would say if moving targets, if you are below 90%, you know, or below 80%, that's fine, as long as you're not too below. When they're simple, when they are very complex, if you're like between 30 to 50%, that's kind of how it would be in a Fortnite match, right? And don't think that's bad. I'm going to explain why that actually might be a really good accuracy on the next step here. All right, that was not that good at all, but that's fine, right? Oh, actually, that was a high score. So whatever, right? Yeah, I got it, my high score. That's okay. So just like those three kind of give you, I recommend doing this one for you to go to the corner, right? You can move your character there, your aim, so you can like have a little more visibility on the jumping character that you can shoot at, right? But this is AIMLABS. It's fairly simple, right? If you're on PlayStation or Switch or like a Windows tablet, something like that, I'm gonna go to a Fortnite map next. So we can train that map, and I can show you that map how to get your sensitivity there as well. And if you have AIMLABS, you can also use that map for some trainings in Fortnite to help you just find your settings on Fortnite. So I also recommend you watching that. All right, let's go to it. All right, so go to aim. There's chapter 6 weapons here. I'm just gonna get a Hollow Twister. There you go. All right. I already have like Bing here, so they have like stats and things, you know. You see like there's a little rank there on the left. This doesn't reflect real rank, reflects your rank on the map, right? And there's a few places here that I would like to show you. So I feel like one of them that is good is this one here. You can like, you start here, right? You reset your accuracy there. Okay. And so one of the corners is this one, like it's the launch pods. This is gonna help you to kind of. This is not starting? Oh, okay. So, you know, you track them in the air. right? So what I think they're gonna be starting to noticing is, right, remember that I mentioned before your X versus your Y sensitivity, right? And in AIMLABS, right, you can see that heat map. Over here, you kind of can't, right? So kind of like hard for you to track that data. That's why I think the AIMLABS is a great tool. But if you don't have an Xbox, or if you don't have a computer to train that, right, you won't be able to do it. So you will need like to do something else for Fortnite when you're on a PlayStation, a Switch, on a tablet, on a phone, whatever it is, right? And this is going to reflect more. You see, like my accuracy here is more like towards 38%, 50%. I think I mentioned that on the while we were on the AIMLABS, right? That if you have something between around 40%, getting close to 40%, right? Getting as close to 50% as possible, it's probably like really good aim. Even though some people might criticize you for it or say that's not the case, you know, it actually is, right? And let me ask you this. You probably know about Michael Jordan, you probably know about Kobe Bryant, right? Really good basketball players. And you probably know about Stephen Curry, one of the probably best shooters ever, right? I'm gonna put you the stats of them here on the screen. Of course, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan are already retired. Stephen Curry is still playing, right? But you can see like their career stats, right? And their accuracy throughout their career. And I feel like that's a really good comparison. Because, you know, like there are many actions that are like how to hit, you know, how muscle memory works, you know, like hand-eye coordination they're also using in sports, right? Where's this guy? There you go. But you see like how my accuracy is gonna be around that mark. But let's say you are undershooting or overshooting a little too much. What do you do then? You go to Fortnite, right? Go there into your settings, and then you adjust your settings here on your controller, right? They're gonna be, I think here. Yeah, over here gonna adjust your look sensitivity, your aim sensitivity, right? That's the ADS sensitivity. I would say this should be more like medium for most people, and this for looking when you're not ADSing, probably higher, right? You also have the dead zone that I talked before, right? And I think that's about it. I prefer to toggle behavior if you just one click, right? I don't have to hold my right button. I just click once. I prefer like that. Some people find that a horrible idea. So do what's good for you, right? Over here in this corner, we have like some kind of a flick track, kind of how gridlock trainings in AIMLABS, right? But this map is also good because it has that. You can also make the targets smaller if you want, right? I don't recommend you spraying your weapon. This is about you learning how to track little by little. You can also like not move your character, and it's probably gonna make your life easier. Because this is about you finding your settings, right? This is not about you moving, you developing combat skills, right? Those are things that you develop by playing games and by playing red versus blue maps, right? Where you can like fight a lot, die a lot, not worry about, you know, if you're sent to the lobby or not, because, you know, if you die, just go back there to the corner and you can jump on the fights in the next second, right? That's how you improve faster combat skills. But your aiming skills, without good settings, as I said before, they cannot be improved, right? And see the difference here? Like, these targets are not moving or jumping around, and my accuracy is 92%, right? That's because targets are not moving. I'm not moving, right? This is much easier. But when your targets are moving, it's going to be a little different. This corner here, I feel like it's pretty good for you to get like headshot accuracy bumps, you know? Like, the targets don't die if you don't get like a perfect headshot, right? So, also you can like move around, you know, like it's kind of like hit this works also in builds or zero builds, right? So you can like, you see like this here, right? Like going up and down like this is your Y tracking, right? So if you're not getting this moving fast enough, up or down, right? I do recommend you then, of course, if it's too slow to get to the target, your Y is a little too slow, right? And you see, like, that was actually a really good headshot, but the recognition here is that you have to get at least, I think, to 150 for it to count. You know, if it's below 150, it doesn't count. But I would say that 140 headshot is pretty good in most fights. You know, like if you hit that, it's pretty good, right? It's like over 50% of the life of your enemy, right? Be it in zero build or in builds, you know, and that's like really decent, right? But this is like what you can do for your pumps, right? Let's do a brief talking point about DPI, screen size, and sensitivity for your mouse. So when you open Fortnite for the first time, right, it's gonna offer you 20 by 20 sensitivity, right? That's a very high sensitivity. Some people swear by that. And what do? They decrease their movement, like the look, right? This thing here. The look sensitivity, they decrease that a lot because their the sensitivity in their controllers, right, is super high. They're using like stock sensitivity. Some people swear by that. Maybe that for controller is better. I'm not a controller player that much. I played controller long ago. I don't never play controller on Fortnite. Right, should not say never. I played like maybe a couple matches where my PC was fixed or something like that, you know. But really not a lot, right? So I personally like low settings, right? And the DPI in your mouse, right? The faster the DPI, that means the more pixels you are going through with your mouse, right? The more like and that means, right, that my visibility, you know, that's kind of how my churns are, right? They're usually like around not exactly at the 360, but more like a 180 degrees, right? Or more like a 90 degrees actually, when I do like a little bit of movement with my mouse, right? So like I'm doing like usually 90-degree turns. I can do 180-degree turns if I really want, but that's more like a bigger movement, right? That's kind of how I like my sensitivity adjusted, right? So DPI really doesn't matter, screen size really doesn't matter, right? What matters is that you adjust your settings to those things. So you don't have like a huge movement with your mouse, right? Like this, and then you cannot like stop on trying to shoot that, for example, you know? Like you gotta be able to slow it down. Going to controller to keyboard and mouse, right, has a few caveats, right? One of them is that those are very different tools, right, for aiming. Keyboard and mouse is more like about precision, right? Controller is more about getting to your target and spamming shots, you know? Controller is not that much about precision, right? Unless you have like tremendously good aim assist, right? There are cases of professional games with professional competitions like Apex, right, that have developed such a stellar aim assist, right? The professional players were so enraged by it that they were like, this was aim assist is stupid, and it took like a month off. Like the biggest champion in Apex, like #1, it was like, oh, you just washed, and he was like, no, your aim assist is just bullshit. So he took a month off of like streaming. He started playing on controller, right? And the aim assist was so good that he proved that how absurd it was, because like once he came back to championships and to streaming, he was on top again, right? Fortnite has very decent aim assist, but I wouldn't say it's absurdly godly. It's more balanced, right? For long range, aim assist is not there as much, right? Because also there would kind of be a little bit of a hacking thing, like you could just pair your controller over a bush, for example, or corner of a tree, and you cannot see someone super well, and your controller would slow down super big range, you know, and that would be kind of cheating, you know, like it'd be kind of telling you things that, you know, it wouldn't be able to tell you otherwise, right? You just have you would have to see it with your eyes, you know what I mean? For that not to be considered some sort of like wall cheating, right? Wall hacks, sort of. So that's why in controller you don't have like that long range, right? So it's more like you find your target on screen, right? Let's get a little target here. Let's get this League of Legends statue. Isn't she cute? Let's say your target is there, right? Your aim is here, you know, and your controller, it's less about saying getting lots of headshots, but more about you get your target there, right? Like you get your there, and then you spam shots, right? Now, on keyboard and mouse, it's more about developing really good fast tracking because you find your targets faster, and then sometimes you can spend time trying to get headshots, right? So it's not by coincidence, right, that people in keyboard and mouse can hit a lot more headshots, right? It's because we developed that ability, and because we can track faster, right? If you develop that ability, right, then you can try to headshot, right? And that is like tremendously helpful on keyboard and mouse. Now, how to go from controller to keyboard and mouse? Again, that's why this video is here, right? You have to find your settings first. Go for the video, right? Train AIMLABS if you're on computer and Xbox. If not, go to that map and use the squared wall with the red balls, right? To train your flicks and find your sensitivity. Don't move your character. Sit in the middle. Start the thing. Shoot that little by little. Understand if you're undershooting or overshooting. Do that, right? Train a little bit of all the shooting around. Relax, breathe, relax your shoulders, right? Try to enjoy it. Do it for at least you like understanding your aim a little bit better. You have some accuracy stats in there if you're adjusting Fortnite. If you are in AIMLABS, you have a lot more tools. Compare your accuracies a little bit. Try the same things consistently until you improve. Don't keep swapping between things too much, right? Like train like 2-3 times, 3 minutes in a row before adjusting settings. You know, so you can warm up, adjusting your eye coordination, right? Make sure that the environment's not too cold. Your hands have muscles and veins, and the more warmed up they are, the more accurate they are. Science. And that is going to be helpful to you. That's the fastest way you're going to improve your aim. And once you have your settings done, then you go to like red versus blue, try shooting each other a lot, you know, and get lots of kills, die a lot. Don't go to Battle Royale yet, right? Once you are like more comfortable and you feel like your aim is there, right? You can do all of this honestly in a matter of like 2 hours or less than that even, right? You can adjust your settings a lot and you're gonna see a great improvement in your aim. The more you go through this process, right, the more it happens. Also, when weapons change or the modes change, for example, reload versus a regular battle royale have different weapons, that might need different settings. We don't have right now ways to create profiles on Fortnite, right? Where you can have a profile for this, a profile for that, you know? The way other games would have that for different characters, for example. But you can adjust your settings and take notes and just learn how to go for that for the season, right? I adjust my settings consistently. Sometimes I'm live, adjust my settings, right? Sometimes I'm like in the middle of a game, streaming, in a ranked match even, and I adjust my settings a little bit sometimes, right? The only annoying thing about Fortnite is that this slider, you cannot input a number in there. There's a slider, and sometimes pushing that slider when you're in lower sensitivity, right? I play in lower sensitivity, it's a little hard to kind of adjust that the way I would like, right? So if you're playing on higher sensitivity, that's better for you. It's a little easier to adjust because, you know, the like 0.1% might not play against you as much as they play against me because I play in lower sensitivity. So that is kind of like the only caveat in Fortnite, mostly because the slider doesn't work super well, right? Kind of hard for you to adjust those things and you cannot input numbers in there. Like Overwatch you can, Marvel Rivals you can, I think, but Fortnite doesn't have it yet. It's a feature that I would like personally to see, right? Anyways, thank you so much for watching this. Hope you enjoyed. Refer to this video whenever you need it, right? Give it to your friends. Thank you so much. Don't forget to use the code PegasusFly in the Epic Shop. See ya.